The Los Angeles wildfires that erupted on January 7th, 2025, marked one of the most catastrophic fire events in the city's history. The initial blaze began in the densely forested Pacific Palisades area, a neighborhood known for its mix of luxurious homes and natural landscapes. The dry, windy conditions that had been affecting the region in the weeks leading up to the fires created the perfect storm for an uncontrollable blaze. As the fire spread, it rapidly engulfed nearby areas such as Eaton, Hearst, Sunset, and Woodley, all of which are densely populated residential zones. The wildfire's destructive force was terrifying, with powerful winds causing flames to leap from one area to the next at an alarming rate. The fires destroyed over 37,000 acres of land, including vast swaths of private property, nature reserves, and crucial infrastructure. The fires not only devastated the natural landscape, but also caused widespread damage to the local economy, with financial losses estimated between $250 billion and $275 billion. This included the destruction of homes, businesses, and farmlands, as well as damage to utilities and transportation networks. The wildfires also led to significant health problems, with toxic smoke causing breathing issues for thousands of residents across Los Angeles County. The tragedy claimed 24 lives, a staggering toll that affected families and communities. Of those who perished, 16 were from the Eaton area, and 8 others were from the Pacific Palisades. Many residents were caught in a frantic and desperate escape as the fires rapidly encroached on their homes. Emergency responders worked tirelessly to assist in evacuations, but the speed of the blaze left many with limited options. Evacuations were ordered for over 150,000 people, and temporary shelters were set up to house more than 700 displaced residents. In the face of this crisis, a major emergency response was mobilized. Over 14,000 personnel were deployed to assist in firefighting efforts, including the use of 1,400 firefighting vehicles, 84 aircraft, and other specialized firefighting equipment. However, despite these massive resources, the scale of the fire was so immense that many areas continued to burn for days. Firefighters struggled against not only the sheer size of the blaze, but also against water shortages. The city's water supply was under severe strain, with critical areas like Palisades suffering from diminished water pressure as firefighting efforts drained local reserves. Janice Quinones, the CEO of the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power, LADWP, reported that they were unable to refill water tanks in time to help contain the fire effectively. The wildfires caused widespread chaos and emotional devastation. Psychological impacts were felt deeply across the community, particularly among those who had lost their homes, possessions, and even family members. Survivors described their fear and helplessness as they watched the fire tear through their neighborhoods, unsure of where the flames would go next. The fire's destructive power not only wiped out physical structures, but also shattered a sense of safety and security, which is critical in any community. Many survivors struggled with feelings of grief, trauma, and anxiety as they faced the overwhelming task of rebuilding their lives in the wake of such a disaster. The emotional toll of the fires was felt not only by those directly affected, but also by the larger Los Angeles community, which had to come to terms with the loss of cherished spaces and natural beauty. As the immediate danger passed, the focus shifted to the long-term recovery process, which involved more than just restoring homes and businesses. The psychological recovery was just as critical, as many survivors required mental health support to cope with the trauma they had experienced. Social workers, counselors, and support groups worked tirelessly to provide assistance, but the community was still reeling from the shock. As the city moved into the recovery phase, both the local and national governments were criticized for the insufficient disaster preparedness and the slow response to initial warnings. There were concerns about the lack of early intervention, the lack of effective communication with the public, and the insufficient resources to prevent the fire from spreading so quickly. The fires highlighted major flaws in disaster management systems, leading to widespread calls for reform in how emergency responses are coordinated. There were also calls for better fire prevention measures, especially in high-risk areas. Experts suggested that the wildfires could have been mitigated if better planning and more resources had been allocated to fire management and preventative strategies. In the aftermath of the fires, the community response was heartwarming, as people from across Los Angeles and beyond rallied to support those affected. Various local organizations, nonprofits, and government bodies launched fundraising campaigns, donation drives, and other initiatives to assist the survivors. These efforts helped to provide immediate relief, such as food, clothing, and temporary shelter, as well as longer-term support for housing, rebuilding efforts, and mental health services. The spirit of resilience was evident as people began to rebuild their homes and their lives. Volunteers from all walks of life came together to help clear debris, distribute resources, and offer emotional support to those who had lost everything. The rebuilding process, however, was not easy. Many residents found themselves struggling with financial and bureaucratic obstacles as they tried to navigate the complex process of insurance claims, government assistance, and reconstruction. The challenges of recovery were immense, and it was clear that the community would need time to heal both physically and emotionally. Looking forward, the fires underscored the importance of preparedness for future disasters. While efforts have been made to improve fire safety in California, the sheer scale of the fires in Los Angeles proved that much more needs to be done. The community, emergency services, and government officials must work together to ensure that fire prevention, evacuation plans, and early warning systems are in place to better protect residents in the future. Additionally, addressing climate change and the increasing frequency of extreme weather events is a critical part of any long-term strategy to prevent such devastating fires. In conclusion, the January 2025 wildfires in Los Angeles were not just a natural disaster, they were a wake-up call for the entire community. The physical destruction and tragic loss of life were compounded by the emotional and psychological toll on residents. The fires served as a stark reminder of the importance of disaster preparedness, resilience, and community support in the face of overwhelming adversity. Only through cooperation, better planning, and a strong sense of unity can Los Angeles hope to prevent such tragedies from occurring in the future and ensure that those who were affected can rebuild their lives. If you like these types of videos, don't forget to like and follow. Stay tuned for more.